What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jeremy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video, and today we're talking something that is kind of tragic. I gotta be real honest, it is kind of tragic. Sony Interactive Entertainment announces major layoffs that hit roughly 900 staff across London studios and countless others that are actually being closed. This is kind of tragic because I never like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs. Whether unless it's voice actors and stuff like that, but that's another story for another time. But in this situation, I never like to revel in the fact that people lose their jobs. I don't like to revel in this fact, but you also have to realize that Sony has been doing this to itself, and it has led to its own this moment by doing what it has continued to do over and over again, by bowing down to the social justice ideologies, by bowing down to identity politics, and by prioritizing ideology over actual storytelling and actual fans of video games. And when you actually take a look at what is actually happening, you have 900 staffers being let go, roughly 8% of their global workforce. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but that is still a massive amount when you actually consider some of these studios and areas that are being shut down. The latest round of layoffs in the industry affected several of Sony's key internal development studios, including London studio has been closed entirely, all staff laid off. Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games, and Firespit. Now, why are these particular areas important? Why are these particular industries important? London Studios is one of their main headquarters and stuff like that. Got shut down. Well, what has Insomniac put out recently? What has Insomniac done? Oh, well, I mean, recently they put out Spider-Man 2. Most Knowing Flaws reveals a biggest problem with the sequel game. That's right, Spider-Man 2. As much as Spider-Man 1 and the DLC for Spider-Man 1 actually did relatively well, let's not mince words here. Spider-Man 2 actually was a flop for them. It was not this successful of a game. It had a overinflated budget, roughly being about $200 million in a budget, filled with countless bloat, people interacting with the game that didn't need to be interacting with it, so on and so forth, which led to have a larger margin of a larger threshold that it needed to broach in order to actually break even. When it came to its actual break even point, yeah, it came close. It came close in the long run, and we learned that via the Insomniac leaks itself, but ultimately it didn't really breach that point. And why is that? Well, because you focused again on social justice. You focused in on these identity politic areas. You focused in on these things that nobody cared about, ultimately also suffering because you kind of decanonized stuff that happened in the first game. And I mean, you also had the Mary Jane incident that was going around. Mary Jane looked like more of a man, pushing more of this Western ideology, Western things, can't have beautiful women in it. And why do you think that might be? Well, it might be because Insomniac Games paired up with Sweet Baby Inc., that wonderful company that just keeps popping its head up every which way to inject personal ideology within games, when also it's not helmed by anybody that has actually made a game or done anything with a game. It's a bunch of mid-level individuals coming in to try to insert their own ideology into it. But back to here, Naughty Dog. Oh, who remembers Naughty Dog? Maybe it has something to do with games like this, Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us Part 2, which was a major disaster for Naughty Dog and actually Sony Entertainment, so much so that they quit reporting on their actual numbers and then ended up getting beat out by Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, which continued to put out its numbers week over week over week over week, because it wanted to show you that they were confident in their game. They were confident they were getting numbers. While when it came to Last of Us Part 2, yes, it might have won a bunch of awards. Yes, it might have been this critically acclaimed game. Players checked out. Players didn't like it. You even have people like Angry Joe coming out saying how much he disliked this game. Yes, there were fun aspects to the gameplay and stuff, but narratively and story-wise, it was a departure, and it was a disaster to do stuff to Joel that people didn't even see coming. And when you actually take a look further into the whole Last of Us franchise, you also have to remember, I believe it was last year, they ended up announcing that, hey, they are canceling the Last of Us Online game. It's no longer going to be a thing that we're pushing forward with. When are they actually coming out with that Last of Us 2 remake? I recently looked something up about it. I don't even know that's ever actually happening. All I've ever really seen is Last of Us 1 remakes, Last of Us 1 remakes, Last of Us 1 remakes, remasters, whatever you. Where's that Last of Us 2 remaster? Where's that Last of Us 2 game? I don't really see it coming. Well, moving on. Guerrilla Games. Oh, who here knows about Guerrilla Games? Oh, Guerrilla Games put out Horizon Forbidden West, another game that had a massive overinflated budget that didn't really approach what it actually needed to approach, and continue to annoy players, focusing again on certain social political ideology, focusing in on this more woke ideology, and on top of that, hey, Aloy became a dude, a girl that was actually modeled after a very attractive young model, very attractive female. Oh my gosh, she's a dude now, and on top of that, she's a lesbian. So you got that going for you. Man, maybe players are checking out. Maybe players are getting away. Maybe players are getting tired of what you're doing and what it should be your flagship games. Pushing your ideology in your flagship games. Pushing your ideology in all this. Pushing your Western over the top, I'm trying to think of a good word that isn't so insensitive. Actually, I don't give a crap. Woke ideology, LA bullcrap, California modern day politics getting shoved down gamers' throats. Maybe that has something to do with what's going on right now over at Sony Entertainment. Then we move on. Firespite. Well, Firespite is actually more of an issue of the times itself, because Firespite was their actual, or Firesprite was their actual VR company. Their VR has not been doing very well. Their VR basically completely shot itself in the but by being solely focused on the PlayStation system itself, and also kind of pricing itself out of the market itself. When you actually look at their VR headset, yes, it might be getting connectivity now to your PC, but over the past couple of years, it's only been solely to the PlayStation itself, and even then, it costs more than the PlayStation to actually buy a VR headset. So you've already priced players out of your actual VR area. Then on top of that, your games, VR games aren't really doing that well. VR games aren't really that interested to your everyday customer and your everyday individual. So making a whole VR studio doesn't really make much sense. Yes, it's cool, it's niche, it's fun, but you're pricing people out, and a lot of people don't really want to go around and do this the whole time. Well, okay, so I explained all that. I explained all these real issues here. What's another issue that might actually have something to do with this? Oh, the countless amount of players that are stepping away over the actual censorship issues that come within Sony itself, whether it's censoring out Japanese animation, whether it's censoring different things here, shrinking breast sizes, high Final Fantasy, whether it's, covering up cleavage, whether it's getting away from what helped create your company, what helped push your game, JRPGs and things like that. I'm focusing in on more of a Western ideology, Western-centric gaming. Maybe that has something to do with it. And pushing censorship across the board does not help to bring people up here, doesn't help to get people interested. And you go through some of these, and I'll just point out this one right here. Fairy Tail game. Upskirt Shot censored. Final Fantasy VII remastered, censored. Game Tenku, I can't even read this one. Cruisin' Mix, censored. Haruto Alice Graham, censored. Labyrinth-like, censored. Love R DLC, costume, censored, so on and so forth. All sorts of different censored games, and this is just some of the ones that people have actually been able to find and point out. There are countless games that Sony has actually censored outright. There are games that they no longer allow in their Play Store that, indie games, things like that, JRPGs that Nintendo's come around and actually picked up themselves. Nintendo being now, I would argue, a more mainstay competitor yet again to Sony. Players are stepping away, players are getting away, and that is what has led to actual Sony's layoffs. Now, is this a big layoff? Is this a massive layoff? Not entirely, but it is a massive layoff, and key areas that they needed that was actually kind of helping prime and push their continual game pushes. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it up, friends. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.